Hey, what's up, YouTube? Hey, what's up? What's up, YouTube? So, I'm doing my Zap of Zen today, where I share with you guys a little bit of wisdom of what's been on my mind, what I'm reading, and some of the practices that I have used that have helped me over my life as well. So, what I'm going to be sharing today is kind of about the warrior spirit, and cultivating courage. So what I have here is a book called The Warrior of Light by Paulo Coelho. Pretty awesome. And I have a passage that I wanted to share with you guys today that really speaks to the warrior spirit. So the most important quality on the spiritual path is courage. The world seems threatening and dangerous to cowards. They seek the false security of a life with no major challenges and arm themselves to teeth in order to defend what they think they possess. Cowards end up making the bars of their own prison. The warrior of light projects his thoughts beyond the horizon. He knows that if he does not do anything for the world, no one else will. So he fights the good fight and he helps others, even though he does not quite understand why. And part of that is diving into the unknown. At least that's what's coming up for me, is diving into the unknown, even though we don't always have full clarity on which direction to move forward in life. We can move forward with courage when we don't have that clarity. Through courage and faith, we're saying that even though I don't understand what my plan is going forward, I don't have a certain formula for how I'm going to help the world, how I'm going to serve my mission, how I'm going to serve my gifts with the world. Through courage and faith, what we are projecting into the world is our vision of a better world, which is already here. So essentially what we're doing is sharing that, having the courage to share that. And for myself, I have been one that has deeply resonated with the warrior spirit through sports, through just having the courage to engage in conversations that I wouldn't have otherwise have had if I would have stepped back into that role of cowardice. So what I want to share with you guys really quick is a story about how we can step into our courage even more and to really shine light on what being a coward is all about, so that we can understand where we are holding back from our true power and truly stepping into our authentic self. Because our authentic self is so much more powerful than we have been led to believe, either by the media or by ourselves or by any outside sources. When it comes down to it, the truest essence of who you are is courageous, is powerful. So I want to share with you guys a quick story. It's a quick little Zen story here, and it's about when a man goes to see a Zen teacher, and he wants the Zen teacher to teach him how to be courageous and how to be brave. So one cowardly person came to a master of martial arts and asked him to teach him bravery and courage. The master looked at him and said, "I will teach you with only one condition. 1 month you will have to live in a big city, and during your time in that city, you will have to go up to every single person that you see, and you'll have to look at them in the eyes directly and straightforward and tell them that you are a coward." So the person got really sad because this task seemed scary to him. For a couple of days, he was very sad and thoughtful, but to live with this cowardice was so unbearable that he traveled to the city to accomplish his mission. So at first, when he was meeting the passers, he qualied, lost his speech, and couldn't contact anyone. but he needed to finish the master's task. So he began to overcome himself. When he came up to his first passer to tell about his cowardice, it seemed to him that he would die from fear. How many times do we have that when we feel like we're about to die from fear? From my personal experience, I've had that hiking. I've had that through certain conversations that I wanted to engage in. And every single time I've noticed the difference between choosing courage and between choosing cowardice. When I choose cowardice, I definitely felt the sadness that he speaks of in here and how unbearable it is. So choosing courage, you step into your power even more and more every single time. So his voice sounded louder and more confident with every passing day. Suddenly came a moment when the man caught himself thinking that he's not scared anymore. And the further he continued doing the master's task, the more convinced he was that the fear was abandoning him. That way, a month had passed. The person came back to the master, bowed to him, and said, "Thank you, teacher. I finished your task. Now I'm not afraid anymore, but how did you know that this strange task will help me?" And the thing is that cowardice is only a habit. By doing the things that scare us, we can destroy the stereotypes and come to a conclusion that you came to. And you know that bravery is also a habit. And if you want to make bravery and courage a part of yourself, you need to move forward into that fear. Then the fear will go away and courage will take its place. So I got that quick little story from this website called Zen Story about courage. Body and nourishment blog. Cool, thanks. So definitely speaks to the habits that you want to cultivate. What kind of habits do you want to cultivate? And truly being able to embody courage is a day-to-day practice that becomes easier with momentum. So one of the practices that I love to do is going out hiking and using the mountain, using my journey when I'm hiking as a tool for being able to transmute those energies of fear, those energies of what I would call limiting beliefs, and transmute those into more powerful ones of courage. So, you know, there's a lot of points. I remember one point when I was hiking with a buddy and we're almost at the top of the mountain, and there's this small little ledge that you have to go over on the mountain in order to get onto the peak where you can climb up on the ridge to get up to the peak. And we had sat there for about 10 or 15 minutes because there was a fear. There was fear of the death. And fear of death is a powerful one that we can transmute as well. And what had happened is we had sat there for about 10 minutes. And I mean, like, there's older people passing by, there's little kids, everyone passing by. And I was sitting there trying to play it cool when in deep down, you know, I was experiencing those feelings of sadness in the cowardness because I knew deep down in my core that I was so much more powerful, that I had the courage. And both my friend and I, you know, we both asked each other, if we turn around now and we don't go up and we don't go make it all the way up to the peak, how is this going to impact the rest of our life? Are we going to continue to choose to not go after the things that we want? Are we going to choose to give more power to our fears than to our courage? So that was one of the biggest turning points in my life, because, you know, we decided to go up on the ledge and confront that fear and to cultivate habits of courage. And, you know, you can have different different levels of that as well. You can cultivate smaller habits and build that up into larger habits. So for example, you know, if you're trying to cultivate a self-care kind of habit, something that you could do is more breathing practices. You could even brush your teeth or take a shower. And that's kind of one of like the smaller levels, one of the smaller habits that you would start with to build up momentum. And then as you progress even more into the self-care habit, one of the bigger things that you could do is get a massage, take a vacation, treat yourself in whichever way. So same thing happens when we do acts of courage as well. So going out into the mountains, that is a powerful, potent tool for transmuting those energies and cultivating those habits of courage. And it's been one of the most powerful ones in my life for being able to cultivate that, because you're infusing with that the fear of death as well. So with that in mind, I have another cool passage that I wanted to share with you guys from a book called Shambhalaya, The Sacred Path of the Warrior. The warrior. I'm a warrior. So we got this one passage that speaks once again to the space around us and also to the archetype of the coward. So the warrior fundamentally is someone who is not afraid of space. The coward lives in a constant terror of space. When the coward is alone and in the forest and doesn't hear a sound, he thinks that there's a ghost lurking somewhere. In the silence, he begins to bring up all kinds of monsters and demons in his mind. The coward is afraid of darkness because he can't see anything. He is afraid of silence. He can't hear anything. Cowardice is turning the unconditional into a situation of fear by inventing reference points or conditions of all kinds. But for the warrior, unconditionally does not have to be conditioned or limited. It does not have to be qualified as either positive or negative, but it can just be neutral as it is. Yeah, so I would invite you to ask yourself what's coming up for you right now when you hear that. You know, for myself, I have experienced that before. I remember as a kid having to navigate through some of these perceived fears, not real fears. You know, being afraid of the dark. I think we've all been there. How many times, you know, you shut off the lights at the bottom of the stairs, and then it's just like, you know, you run up and as fast as you can, because it's like, oh, like what's there? Or maybe you're in like the shower, right? You close your eyes with the shower and you got like the shampoo, and then it's just like, oh, quick, I gotta brush this all off because there's, you know, someone in the behind the shower curtain. So these are all examples of how we create fears, perceived fears, and become caught up in the fear of the space that we're in. And so same thing happens when, you know, when I'm out hiking and I'm in, you know, even if I'm not going to the top of the mountain, sometimes if I am walking through the forest, you know, you're thinking of the bear, you're thinking of the mountain lion. And that's why going out into nature is such a powerful tool, because you also connect to that primal nature of who you are. And you tap into some of those fears that have been constant in our evolution as Homo sapiens, right? So those are some of like the fears that will come up for hiking and whatnot. And to be able to cultivate courage and equanimity in the face of those things, and to really truly align yourself and bring yourself into the nowness of the moment. And like what they said before, to be in that space of neutrality. So For anyone watching right now, I would definitely encourage you to send me a message this summer, and from now on, I'm going to be offering a lot of coaching services where I can guide you in how to come into that state of equanimity, how to navigate through some of these perceived fears and dissolve and destroy those limiting beliefs. And we use nature as a beautiful tool for being able to transmute those energies into more powerful ones, such as courage, clarity, purposefulness, and learning how to navigate your emotions and how to cultivate more mindfulness so that you show up in the world more powerfully and with more presence. So using nature as a wonderful teacher, one of the most beautiful teachers that teaches you in a fierce, loving way where you can experience that freedom. So definitely send me a message if you're interested in cultivating even more courage in your life so that you can have more clarity as well. And who doesn't love enjoying some time out in nature as well? It's not always about that warrior spirit. It's also about cultivating that lover archetype as well, and enjoying your surrounding and enjoying the mindfulness and soaking in and bathing in the beauty of your surroundings as well. But going back to the warrior archetype as well, and talking about the king archetype as well, there's another cool passage in here. We got about 4 minutes left in the Zap of Zen, so thanks guys for staying with me on this one. So out of that, and they're talking about exposing some of your wounds, being vulnerable with the world and taking off the armor. So out of that comes an extraordinary birth, the birth of the universal monarch. The Shambhala definition of the monarch is someone who is very raw and sensitive, willing to open his or her heart to others. That is how you become a king or a queen, the ruler of your world. The way to rule the universe is to expose your heart so that others can see your heart beating, see your red flesh, and see the blood pulsating through your veins and arteries. Boom. Can you guys see the veins popping through? Nah. So ordinarily, we think of a king in the negative sense as someone who holds himself apart from others, hiding in his palace and creating a kingdom to shield himself from the world. Here we are speaking of opening yourself to other humans in order to promote human welfare. The monarch's power in the Shambhala world comes from being very soft. It comes from opening your heart so that you share your heart with others. You have nothing to hide. No suit of armor. Your experience is naked and direct. It is even beyond naked. It is raw, uncooked. This is the fruition of warriorship, the complete primordial realization of basic goodness. At that level, there's absolutely no doubt about basic goodness, or therefore about yourself. When you expose your naked flesh to the universe, can you say, should I put on a second skin? Yo, what's up?
Oh, hey.
Hey, I'm just doing a YouTube live.
Oh, are you actually doing it right now?
Yeah, it's cool though. I am just finishing up. So anyone who's tuning in, I will catch up with you guys later.
Wow.
Yeah,
cool.
Cool.